One of the most famous Jedi in the Star Wars universe, Obi-Wan Kenobi, has had a long and illustrious career through the spacefaring saga, transitioning from the Padawan of Qui-Gon Jinn to the master of Anakin Skywalker, before he eventually trained Luke in the ways of the Force. Kenobi is one of my all-time favorite characters, and I'm not the only person who thinks this way. To be honest, what's not to love? He's charming, noble, sarcastic, and of course very skilled with the lightsaber. Kenobi has always been on the top of his game, and we've been blessed by the folks at Lucasfilm who have explored this character in depth throughout the prequel trilogy, the original trilogy, and of course subsequent TV shows such as Clone Wars, which has left us wondering, if there's a Kenobi movie, which we hope there is, what on earth would it be about? This man already has a lot of screen time, and it's not like his life is an unknown quantity. We pretty much know how it starts, and of course how it ends, and a lot of what happens in the middle. So we're gonna mull over that in today's video, and the possible avenues they could approach this from. So one of the easiest eras for Star Wars to explore would be Obi-Wan's early years when he was still a Padawan, prior to Qui-Gon Jinn and him meeting up with Anakin. It's one of the simplest storytelling routes because we have the least information about it on screen, which gives the writers and directors more leeway to be creative. I don't necessarily think they would explore Obi-Wan's life as a kid per se. That's a lot to put on a child actor for a character who's already been built up into this massive legend, but they could easily start off the story when he's a young man, just prior to the meeting on Tatooine. By the end of his life, Obi-Wan was this wise, highly skilled, and practiced a philosophy that was characterized by thoughtful, deliberate action. But he wasn't always like that, and it would be really interesting to see how he got from point A to point B, to see this early evolution of his training, and to tie it into the events that led up to the Phantom Menace. The adventures of young Obi-Wan, perhaps? Another avenue that Star Wars could explore would perhaps be a self-contained segment somewhere between The Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones, where Obi-Wan is training Anakin, but Anakin has not yet grown into his shoes as a full-fledged Padawan. This in-between era between the two films, one that was alluded to in the prequels, but not explored in the films themselves, or the TV show, could allow Obi-Wan to go onto some sort of solo quest or adventure separate from the other characters. It would also give him the option to do something really interesting that ties into the larger series, because of course this especially was the era of political intrigue that led up to the full-on Clone Wars. They also could do something really interesting mission-wise. Espionage related, perhaps? Obi-Wan was always good at showing discretion and tact where Anakin couldn't. I really like this idea a lot, although I think the odds of it being explored are very slim, because a lot of Obi-Wan's life during this era has already been explored in full throughout the absolutely amazing Clone Wars series. And because that series was so heavily tied to the current Obi-Wan and Anakin Skywalker, played by the awesome Ewan McGregor and Hayden Christensen, fans might make a stink over any talk of recasting them. On the flip side, of course, there was so much going on during this time period that there's always the option to explore a very singular event or series of events, a la Ventress, Dooku's former apprentice, in Dark Disciple. Anakin and Obi-Wan did split up quite often during this era to oversee different events, and perhaps there's an opportunity there for Obi-Wan to go on another solo mission related to the war efforts, maybe? Again though, I think this is definitely the least likely area for them to explore, just because it's already been heavily picked over. After Order 66 and the Republic falls to Palpatine, Obi-Wan escapes to Tatooine with the infant Luke, where he sets him up with his extended family and watches over him from afar. And of course, there's a huge gap of 20 years of time that could be explored between Obi-Wan handing off Luke to his uncle and Ezra Bridger searching for him. So the sky is the limit here. Literally, the sky of Tatooine is probably the limit. It's not like Obi-Wan can do much during this era. He's stuck on the planet watching over Luke, but perhaps there's some sort of mission he can get embroiled with, as Tatooine was controlled by Hutt crime lords at the time. The filmmakers could definitely do something with a set of parameters that might end up being really creative. So as always with Star Wars, I have faith in them. And that's it for our Kenobi musings for today. This particular topic is wide open, so what other areas of Obi-Wan's life could be explored in a movie? Let us know in the comment section below. If you like our video, be sure to leave a thumbs up. Once again, I'm Casey, and until next time, may the Force be with you always.